Hey, how's it going in the studio? I'm going to be discussing economy and what that is. In particular, there are cycles where will be economic expansion and contraction. Usually, those cycles would be between 8 and 12 years, or sweet spot in the middle, but roughly about every 8 years would be expansion and contraction of economy. The last one began at 2008, where economical tide has changed. And from that point, contraction began. From that point, expansion began. And I believe personally that we're currently in the contraction period. If there's anything I can add to that, that would be potentially steps, Penrose steps in particular, during which there would be certain steps that people can make climbing up, but those steps wouldn't necessarily lead anywhere. But once the cycle is ending, the step collapses into, so I don't know. It perhaps right now it doesn't really make sense to a lot of people, but overall that's how I personally understand and perceive economy and economy and overall cycles. Uh, the way how they move up and down all the time, as well as the steps, particular steps, and the bottom step or level are constantly collapsing and just to keep everyone on the move, I guess. But overall, I will share a picture with you with potentially seasons and particular steps, and the steps that's constantly moving up, and the bottom step or level is constantly collapsing. And if you see yourself or you find yourself struggling right now, you definitely perhaps can learn from this experience and understand the cycle. If you would be looking back at the history, you would understand that the history is constantly repeating itself. So if whatever happened in 2008, whatever is happening right now, and whatever is going to happen at around 2030, this another step would collapse, and we're going to enter another contraction around that period. So it's just based on historical data, and it's constantly happen. To amplify the point that I'm trying to make, I'll attach a picture, but overall, that's how I personally understand it. All the cycles, levels, and process of economic activity. But let's go a little bit more into detail. If I were to break it down full process into business cycles, cycles that are in constant fluctuation in overall economic activity that occurs over time, usually it's characterized by alternating periods of economic expansion and contraction. If we begin with overall expansion, this is a phase of business cycle. Then economy is growing and producing more goods and services. Key indicators of expansion phase include rising in GDP, the gross domestic product, low unemployment rate, increased consumer spending, and higher business investments. During this phase, economic overall output and employment rates are generally on the rise. Next phase would be peak. The peak represents the highest point of economic activity within an expansion. It's the point at which economic growth reaches its maximum level before starting to slow down. At this stage, inflation might start to rise due to increased demand and capacity of constraints on certain sectors. Contraction, or there's a word that I perhaps cannot use for for different software algorithms, but either way, contraction. Let's call it contraction. This is the phase when economic growth begins to slow down, and there's indicators shows a declining in economic activity. GDP's growth slows down or becomes negative, leading to reduced consumer spending, decreased business investments, and rising unemployment. I cannot say this word. They keep changing definition of this word. Just give you a clue, I guess. Typically characterized by significant drop in economic output and general decline in overall economic well-being. Trout. The trout is the lowest point of economic activity within a contraction. It's a point at which economic decline levels off and starts to transition towards recovery. At this stage, various indicators might show insights of stabilization, although the economy is still below its potential. After the drought, the cycle starts again with a new expansion phase. This business cycle is influenced by various factors, including monetary policy, fiscal policy, technological advancements, consumer and business confidence, external shocks, and more. Central banks and government is often use policy tools to try smooth out the business cycle and mitigate the severity of economic contractions, aiming to sustainable growth and stability. It's important to note that while the concept of business cycles is widely accepted, this duration and severity of every phase can vary significantly from cycle to cycle and across different economic sectors. Also, sometimes the cycles can be irregular or prolonged due to various external factors like financial crisis, global economic shifts, and unexpected events. Black swan events, I guess. Yeah. I'm sharing more information in the book that I have published. The name of the book is Game Strategy. In this book, you can find a lot of information about some information that you need to know about overall. We're currently on the topic of markets and economy. You will find a lot of information about different cycles and different perhaps strategies and the mitigation plans, but overall, history has a bad habit of repeating itself. For those who haven't seen it yet, it's definitely gonna repeat all these cycles. Definitely, all this process will repeat itself over and over again. Overall, you can. If anyone's interested, you can find this book in the description as well as on my company's website. Top book retailers has this book as well. Thank you. You as a business owner, you should at least know about business cycles and the way how economy operates. Not necessarily would be that much impacted by overall your business activities, but what you are doing, but your those overall economy activities gonna make impact on your business. That's definitely what's gonna happen, right? So overall, when you working on overall certain areas, something like policy formation, you should definitely take that into account. Overall, your business planning and the way how you're planning your business and what will happen. So we just take that on board definitely. Investment strategy when you're investing and what to put in the simple terms, supply and demand. When supply is high, or what you should do, should you buy it or sell it? When demand is high, what you should do, should you buy it or sell it? Overall, how to understand markets, overall employment, when employment is low or it's very easy to hire top skill talent, what you should do, what you should focus overall this week's theme of perhaps finding right people to work with, and when the market is hot and when you should do that. Consumer behavior currently, if we in a particular cycle, what kind of behavior you should consider or look for within consumers. Economic reach and analysis that definitely gonna be impacted how economy overall performing. Take into account and mitigating and managing your risk. International trade, whatever is happening with the current markets within UK, within Europe, perhaps US, Asia market, and different strategies there. Long-term planning, if you are planning perhaps not necessarily thinking about tomorrow, but you're thinking perhaps next year, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, you definitely should be focusing on overall projections and how economy would react and what how economy will behave with that period of time. Overall government revenue and expenditure, how governments would react based on the continuous cycle and that cycle repeating itself. Just to summarize everything, if you have any questions and anything, please feel free to reach out to me. Other than that, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.